Optimizing your Roblox game is one of the most important things you could do for it. I don't think anybody would want their game to be running at 4 frames per second. Here are 5 ways to optimize your Roblox game. Alright, so we have 2 paths over here. Both paths are unanchored, but in order to optimize your game, we want to unanchor parts that don't need to move. This will reduce the amount of physical calculations the server and the client has to do. Alright, so the second way is we want to change the collision fidelity on an object. Now you may be asking, what is a collision fidelity? Well, collision fidelity is the quality of the collision of a mesh part. So if we go over to this potato here, it's quite small and the player probably doesn't need to step on it, right? That much. So what we want to do over here is we want to go to collision fidelity. As you can see, there's 4 options. There's box, default, and hell. Box is the worst quality you can get, and default is the normal quality. Hell is slightly better than box but worse than default, and precise is the best you can get. So for this kind of model I would change it to box. And I've got to mention one thing: if your object is canceled is off, right, you still need to change the collision fidelity to the lowest quality one, because Roblox still uses memory even though its canceled is off. Alright, so first we need to go to workspace and then we want to scroll down. You will see a tab called streaming. There's a couple of options. I'm only going to go over a few. Streaming enabled, which enables streaming. What is streaming? Streaming is LOD, which stands for level of detail. The further away you are from an object, the less detail the game will render. So this will allow you to save performance when you aren't rendering an object, and it doesn't have to show as much detail. So we're going to streaming min radius. This is the minimum radius that the game has to render. So it's set to 60 for studs, and the streaming target radius is the maximum amount of studs it can render. If we go over to this mesh over here, and we go to render fidelity, this is the detail of the mesh. So usually it's set to automatic, it's obviously automatic, so if you're further from this object it will change, and if you're closer it will go back to normal. Performance is the lowest amount it can go, and precise is the highest amount it can go. So we have a part here, and as you can see, you can quite see the shadow, right? So shadows can reduce performance if there are too many. So we want to disable shadows on objects that the player can barely see. So if we select the object, we want to go to cast shadow right over here and disable it. And that's pretty much it for this